This is Inside Yale Football, brought to you by Yale All-Access. Hello, Ron Vaccaro, welcoming you to another edition of Inside Yale Football. Week 1 of the season complete. Yale defeats Georgetown 37-27 on Saturday and sets its sights now on Cornell to open the Ivy League season. And joined by the head coach of the Bulldogs, Tom Williams. Coach, first, congratulations on the victory. And your thoughts after watching it on film and just an overview of what you thought happened on Saturday.
Well, thank you, Ron. It was a good win for us. We thought we did some really good things, more in the second half. The first half was the opportunity for us to get some of the kinks out of our football. Georgetown's playing their third game, we're playing our first, and I thought that showed up. But I was thrilled to go into the locker room with a 1-point lead, and I felt like our best football was ahead of us. And I thought in the third quarter we came out and played some of the best football we've played since I've been here. So always good to make improvements after a win, and we are on our way, I think, with Cornell coming here next week.
It's always a bit of a slippery slope to start naming names of people who did particularly well. You know, there's obvious people on offense, Patrick Witt, Chris Smith, Mordecai Cargill having great games, putting up the numbers. But there were a lot of guys in the blue on Saturday who did a lot of things that don't get reflected in the stat sheet to make that possible.
You bet. Offensive line-wise, those guys never get any credit unless they false start or hold. And John Oppenheimer, playing his first varsity football game as our offensive center, had a fantastic game. Couldn't have scripted a better start for him. And then, of course, Mr. Steady Eddie, Gabe Fernandez, who's been a starter for us since he transferred from UCLA, had a fantastic game as well. So, as you said, there are a lot of unsung heroes. We think that is attributed to the depth that we have on our football team, and we're able to play a lot of Bulldogs.
On defense, Jordan Haynes, the captain, you know, his praises have been sung as a linebacker. You know, this isn't the first time, but it looked like on Saturday he really has a lot of speed, and it looks like, you know, a lot of that's physical, but also a good portion of that is he knows where the ball is, like an instinct that you can't teach. Is that your assessment too? Well,
there's a reason why NFL scouts are coming around our practices in record numbers. You know, we've got some good football players. Jordan is certainly one of them, and he's garnering a lot of attention. But he has tremendous instincts for a football player, for a linebacker, and having played the position, I think I can recognize that maybe better than others. But he's been a fantastic leader and captain of our football team, and we expect him to continue to play well for us.
Coach, you mentioned the second half especially as something you were very happy with. You challenged your team in the preseason in August to own the third quarter, and the defense set the tone. It was 3 and out for Georgetown, and then the offense did their part. Really, both of it clicked. You couldn't have been happier with the way that happened.
Absolutely not. You know, and I'd like to think that over the course of these last 2 years that we've learned a series of lessons. And the one that I felt like we needed to learn from last year is how to come out fast in the third quarter. And I thought our guys took that to heart. And if Saturday was the result, we'll take that every single time out.
I know you don't like to focus too much on the opponents, but when you see Cornell, what do you expect from them this week?
Well, I think they'll be a much improved football team. You know, I can certainly empathize with Kent and being a second-year coach, trying to change the culture of a program. But I know that they'll be prepared to play. They'll be excited about a conference ball game, and they're much improved. I like their quarterback, Matthews. I think he's a good football player. He's a young man that we looked at in the recruiting process. But again, we're more focused on Yale and the things that we can do to control the outcome of the game on Saturday.
One of the characteristics that I think has defined this team, and I could really trace it back to the, you know, even the later part of the 2009 season, when adversity strikes, you might win or lose the game, but the adversity never deals, you know, a death blow.
That's right.
This team can make a mistake or have something unfortunate happen or a bad bounce and come back. And more often than not, especially over the last year and one game, the result has been a Yale win. Is that something you see and smile at as a coach?
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest improvements we've made is between the years. You know, I think we're a tougher football team, mentally tougher. And the analogy that I've used with our team since our first time together is we need to be more like ants and less like cockroaches. You know, when the light comes on, cockroaches run for cover, and when the light comes on, ants just keep marching on the same path. And I think our team has taken that to heart, and we don't blink at the sign of adversity.
All right, well, speaking of marching, you can see Coach Williams and the Bulldogs with the Bulldog Walk as they march from the Walter Camp Arch to the Bowl at 10:30 on Saturday for the Cornell game, which kickoff has at noon. So thanks, Coach, for joining us. We'll let you get back to prep.
Thank you, Ron.
All right, that's Coach Tom Williams.